We're back with another tutorial. Thanks for all the support on my last tutorial. I did a quick little show of how I made my last remix, which was Donna Summer's Bad Girls edit. And yeah, got a really good response, got some mad messages, so thank you for the love. And all the new subscribers I got as well. Like YouTube was just chucking it around, which was great. So yeah, back with another one. This is my previous remix and one of my personal favorites as well. It's drum and bass, can't go wrong. It's got one of the best vocals of the 21st century, which is Gwen Stefani's What You Waiting For. Let's see what it sounds like without the a cappella. So yeah, lots of layering you can see here, bunch of different instruments to sort of build out that wide synthy electro sort of feel. And then you've got those stabs, very traditional drum and bass stabs. I'll show those first because they're a personal favorite. Made these pretty much from scratch. Like they're just cashmere stabs. So individually, there's just no processing. So yeah, this is the first one, and this is the second one. Together. EQ, definitely cut out some of that low end. You can see they're actually very tinny without the bass supporting them, which was a good move. Chuck a bunch of multi-band compression on there. I just stacked them because they sound great like that. Slow pan. What we got here? We've got a bit of saturation from Newfangled Audio. Great plugin. I'm pretty sure I always just use presets for this. It's just number 4 getting hot. And then just a bit of verb, which I always put as like a bus, so you sort of don't interrupt the original clean chain of it, or the clean track. And then just EQing at the end, and now you've gone to this. Bit grittier, not as much low end, wider as well. Just if that would have come from the slow pan. But yeah, tinny because once you add it with the bass, where is it here? You've got much better. Done. I'll go through the bass as well. A lot of processing on the group for the bass and also individually on these as well. So I have a bit of a call and response in the bass where you go from one style to the other. So yeah, they're both different to support the synths and other instruments that they're playing in unison with. So obviously with these stabs, they're going with those horns, and then with here, they're going with like all the chords. So I need to make 2 different styles for completely 2 different sounds, essentially. But you get the sub, again, different compared to this one. A bit more like grit in this one here, where this one's a bit more, I don't know, they're both gritty, but just in different ways, I guess. I just sort of would have EQ'd different parts out. You see in the top one, I have erosion turned on, bottom one, turn that off. And then got this limiter in here as well. Just another, I mean, they've got amazing presets in here. So again, a bit more layering, a bit more here. Yeah. And then with the bass group, I mean, I'm happy to go into these individually. If that's something you want me to break down a bit more, just drop a comment, let me know. I don't want to go too in depth. I don't want to keep these too long. But I do a lot of movement stuff in the group as well, so that way they're all moving together. But yeah, I use pitch. It's got pitch drop in basically everything in this track. That's what gives it that like tape stop effect at the end. You use it also halfway through for phases as well. So here you'll hear it. I use it halfway through the phase in the synths as well, so like stuff like that. Halfway and at the end. That's just it. Just makes the instruments feel a lot more natural, a lot more alive. There's just a lot more groove to them all, and then a bit of processing for cutting out some of the low end where it's not needed, but also keeping that sub, so you get like the 100 still pumping a bit more there, and then so you can see this turns on and off as well. So you only need it in certain parts. Let's see where I've turned it on and off. Generation. Okay, so I turned it off for this part here because there's no sub in this part. So for these instruments, I want that low end to come back in again. And then here you hear that. Yeah, these instruments, you got No low end. Bit more there, bit more grittiness to it. So yeah, that's the base for this. A lot of layering, a lot of different stuff, a lot of call and response, using the right sounds when it's appropriate for the instruments playing in unison. As for the layering for the synths, there's heaps here. You got your choir, super holy, gotta love that. Your pad, more synths. These are very similar, but laid on top of each other, very nice. Organ, my favorite thing to be using. I love organs. It's almost like old school, like house organs, which sort of gives it that really upbeat vibe for this drum and bass track. Yeah, bring those all together. If you can turn off the bass, you'll hear what it sounds like. Also, this top synth as well, adding a bit more of like a melody to the top as well. As you can see here, it sort of changes. So yeah. As for the vocals, and just another thing, just a bit more movement. That's just at the end of the phrase to bring a bit more transition and a bit more movement into the then stabs. Subtle, but you can hear it. It's definitely there. Let's go to the vocals again. Gwen Stefani, how good is she? Like, these vocals are amazing. The quality's not perfect, but I mean, for like YouTube, can't go wrong. I'll show you what I did to the original one here. Just a bit of amp and everything else. You can hear the original. Again, bit of saturation, just some delay and verbiage I put through like a bus to keep the original audio clean. And you go, your amp, saturation, and then delay, reverb, and then just some EQ at the end just to cut out the lows. And 3,744 hertz, which didn't like. Let's see what that sounds like. Sucks. So duck that out of there. These are layered so well that I didn't even like need to double them up or do anything else extra to them. I think the only difference I did was for the verse, yeah, slightly less effects just because just didn't want it as intense. So then when it comes into the chorus and for the build, her vocals are just like glowing and they just see a bit of variation. I can't wait to go back into Japan. Found my own ad-libs as well. And then also she got this breathing sick. Oh, it's like, what is it? Breathing. So just to sort of, again, add a bit more variation in the chorus, you can see for the synths, I'll turn off the vocals. Go to the stabs, replace it with more synths just to sort of break it up a little bit. Put this going over it. Just amp, EQ, make sure it's just not too many highs, no lows. Keep that sort of mid-range because it's just separated as well with the stereo effect. You only notice that if you have headphones on, or the good stereo system. Because yeah, in the background. Bring back the horns for the last little phrase there of the chorus. That's it. Got this sick ARP, very simple. Just a preset called Freak Styles in Rounds, which is probably one of my favorite like plugins through Reactor. It is insane. It's Reactor. What's it usually? I think it's Rounds. This one here. It's just the one. Drag that in. The presets in here I use all the time. They're very basic but very solid. So to build off them, it's great because then you can just turn it into an ARP, do a bit of manipulation, a bit of audio effects, OTT. Oh, this is also just to automate the effect. So I've got a dry wet knob that I've made. Start off like this, and by the end of it, build that tension. And that's pretty much it. I'll show my favorite part of the track, which is the transition from like the verse to the build. Her vocals work perfectly, builds a lot of tension. And that goes straight into the drop.
What you waiting for?
You can show the drums. The drums are pretty simple as well because there's so much going on. Big bass, vocals playing throughout the whole track. 50 different layers for the synths. I didn't want to do the drums too... I just want to keep them simple. Make them punch. I mean, you've got literally one sample that is like a very typical Amen break, which I broke up. Didn't want anything clashing with the drums or with the kick and the snare. Well, the snare actually, yes, but not the kicks. You can see where I cut this out in this kick just to give it room to breathe. I would have also, yeah, so with these as well, I put it on beats when it's warped, transients on the one with the arrow in the line, and I would drop it down to 30 just to make it a bit cleaner. This is what it sounds like. Big difference. So you're going from like real heavy drums to just something a lot more clean, a lot more precise, not so much tails and all the hats. And you also would have heard those effects as well. They definitely add a lot of movement for... So yeah, those effects, they all add up. A lot of fun. So you got this. It's like old school TV effects. At the end of phrases, good ear candy, adds more movement to the synths because you've always got that pitch bend that's happening at the end of phrases. You put that in there, it's nice. I'm a big fan of that, I'm not gonna lie. You'll hear it better when I turn off the vocals. Very subtle, but it adds movement. The master I've got on now as well isn't sort of squishing everything together. It's very subtle because I don't want to be smashing like I have this really loud. But yeah, the master chain is the song sounds a lot heavier when I've got the master chain on. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate your support so far, for everyone who's been tuning in. If you want me to go into more of like sound design stuff and how I laid these more and go a bit more into like the bass and all the sounds I'm using, just let me know. I can make it a bit more, make it a bit longer. I'm just cautious of time. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Peace.